Richwoods Community High School on a cold, wet, and windy December Friday night. It's the Richwoods Knights and the Bloomington Purple Raiders set to square off here in the Dungeon. Richwoods off to their best start to a season in 5 years. Bloomington has also gotten some big wins against Big 12 opponents early on in December and November as well. It should be a great one here on Clutch Sports Media. And with that, we welcome you into the broadcast. I'm Jonathan Michael. Alongside me is Gavin Russell. And Gavin, it should be a great game tonight. Richwoods 7-1. Bloomington comes into this one 2-4. But yeah, I think that this one's a little bit closer than the records may indicate.
No, for sure. And Richwoods been outstanding early in the season. I mean, 7-1 tells you all you need to know. Then you look at some of their opponents, taking down Peoria Notre Dame, Peoria Manual, among others. They've had a really fast start to their season. Bloomington a little deceiving at 2-4, but they're one of the most competitive teams in the Big 12.
Certainly, and for Bloomington, they played some tough competition to start the year in the inter-city tournament. They won against Normal West, a common opponent that they already share with the Richwoods, but the Purple Raiders will be led by their three-headed monster tonight.
Oh, man, Adam Beasley, Newsom, as well as many others. They're going to be fantastic, and they have a balanced scoring attack between those three guys. So if you look at anybody down this Purple Raiders roster, you're going to figure out the guys that are going to score the most points, because they got a couple guys that can put the ball in the hoop.
Certainly, and for Richwoods, Gavin, I know you've been able to take a look at the Knights a lot this year. They have a couple key juniors that are going to be big for them, as well as a very strong defensive unit as well.
They play fast-paced, but they're aggressive. They have a huge junior class, and by huge, they have a ton of juniors on this team. They've got a big roster just in general. They've got over a dozen players, so you'll notice a lot on the Knights bench. They'll use a plethora of options. They've got Jared Jackson, Tavy Smith, among others. They've got some great young players emerging and doing some good things for the Knights.
Should be a great matchup here from the Dungeon at Richwoods High School. Don't go anywhere. Live coverage of Bloomington and Richwoods coming your way on Clutch Sports Media. We are just moments away from tip-off here at the Dungeon between Bloomington and Richwoods. And Gavin, how about this for some pregame fanfare? They're dimming the lights. There's some light sticks the cheerleaders have. There's flashlights in the stands, a flag waving. This is high school basketball.
This is everything that you want from a great atmosphere from the Dungeon. You love when Richwoods basketball is good, when we've got good Peoria-Bloomington rivalry in the Big 12 Conference. This is an exciting matchup. Both teams are very competitive. Throw records out the window. Richwoods been very good. You got to keep that in mind, but you got to throw records out the window and come play a solid basketball game here on the hardwood.
Certainly, and it's going to be a good one, Gavin. Looking at where both these teams are coming in from, Bloomington suffered a 96-89 loss against Prairie Central back on December 5th. Richwoods, their last contest was on December 6th against Manual, where they won 50-33. So Richwoods has already actually beaten two Peoria opponents as they beat Peoria Notre Dame a couple weeks earlier. So again, their best start to a season, 7-1 in 5 years.
It's been impressive for Richwoods, and they've again played some top-tier competition. They were perfect up at a tournament near the Rockford area. They beat some teams. Boylan, I believe, is one of the teams that they took on. They also took on Chicago Marshall, Freeport, among others, St. Charles North. So they've had some good wins, but we're here for some more good basketball.
Tip-off is won by Bloomington, and we are underway here at the Dungeon. Adam Beasley, Bloomington point guard, handles it. Now here's a shot from Nico Newsom, and it's up and good. Nico Newsom, one of 3 Bloomington players that scored over 20 points in that loss against Prairie Central. Him, Adam Beasley, and John Shuey combined for 74 of their 89 points.
Yeah, they were impressive in that win, but you got to keep it going. You got to try to distribute too. You can't just let that be the only thing you can do as a team. You got to be able to score in multiple ways, have multiple options.
Turnover there from Richwoods, so we'll go back to Bloomington. As here's Beasley with it, working on Tavy Smith, number 4 of Richwoods. Richwoods is starting 5. Markel Newsome, Tavy Smith, as there's a big block from the Knights. Get things going, but Jared Jackson, Greg Burnside, and J.D. Etherly rounding out the starting 5 for the hosts in green and white.
And you'll notice several names again from last year from Richwoods. They actually had a pretty big senior class. You'll think of several names from last year, but they bring a lot back. And again, Jared Jackson got some time to play. Burnside, we'll see some players off the bench. Sabri Quadam will play some minutes as well. So Richwoods got a lot of options, but again, they're still pretty young. A lot of juniors on this team, and again, they're going to bring back some big forces in the coming years.
Beasley goes 1 of 2 at the line for Bloomington, and the press is on. Newsome able to cross the timeline. Just over a minute into action here from the Dungeon. Early season Big 12 action. And a nice dish down low from Burnside. That went down to Tavy Smith, but he couldn't finish. Now here come the Purple Raiders the other way. And driving the post is Newsome. And he got called for a travel.
Maybe a little hands getting in there, maybe some contact, but overall didn't look like anything too egregious and definitely did walk.
Richwoods now quickly the other way. From behind the arc, it's Smith, and his 3 finds the twine. A pretty shot. And we are tied back up again. Nice inside-out action there.
The junior combo of Tavy Smith and Jared Jackson may be one of the most overlooked in the area, the conference. They're very good, but another overlooked player, there's Newsome, getting another bucket.
Nico Newsome. Quick start, and Bloomington gets it right back. Adam Beasley, a corner 3, and Bloomington, just like that, now leads by 5.
Nearly had another steal right there, and they're everywhere. We, kind of recapped it in the pregame, John. Both these teams like to play fast. You got to play under control. Something that Joe Delfonso said at the Tournament of Champions, you got to play quick, but don't hurry. Looks like something Bloomington's done well out of the gate. They're up to an 8-3 lead, and again, momentum is everything, especially in conference rivalries.
Referee's still trying to figure some things out there. A little communication with the official scorer, and we're ready to get back underway. Burnside, the quarterback of the Richwoods Knights football team, inbounds it to Newsome. Gives it now to Etherly, working around the perimeter, and the 3 from Newsome is up and good. Shots are falling from the perimeter left and right. It's a big bucket for Richwoods to get back within 2.
Overall, the size advantage is going to be in favor of Bloomington in this game, but again, Richwoods works the perimeter so well, and the athleticism really helps offset that.
Newsome working on the drive, a nice spin move there, and he walked with it.
Maybe took one extra step, but it was a sweet spin. Newsome's got the right idea, and you got to remember Nico Newsome is a junior, so already shown to be one of the best players on this Purple Raiders team. He's going to be doing that next year as well.
Newsome, the junior. John Shuey is another key guy we mentioned. He's a senior, as well as Adam Beasley. Boy, Gavin, it seems like Beasley has been around forever. He's been contributing to this Bloomington team for quite some time. I remember seeing him back in his sophomore year at the Big 12 tournament back during the COVID season, back when we had empty gyms and playing in masks, and he was still starting back then.
He was.
Now here comes Richwoods the other way. Lob up top off balance. Jackson couldn't finish it. That would have been big and tied the ball game up. Now here's Shuey losing control. This game, shades of a track meet early on. as Richwoods will slow it down now.
Both teams like to get out and play fast. They like to play in transition.
Newsome, 3 right in the face of Beasley is no good, but offensive board corralled by Tavy Smith. And there's a foul there. That will go on Jaylani Stevens of Bloomington. Rather, that was a travel. That is at least the 3rd or 4th travel we've seen already in this game, Gavin. So, a little happy feet, as we like to call it.
Again, a few mistakes early on, a few turnovers, not exactly forced, but got to settle in, got to find your pace.
Bloomington working it with Beasley to the outside. Stevens, a 3 is an air ball. And a foul on Richwoods. That'll go on Tavy Smith. He looks like he hooked Beasley when he was trying to box him out and prevented him from trying to get that board, but did a little bit too much there, so the ball will stay with Bloomington.
Not to say maybe Beasley didn't do a little extra acting there to help sell the call, but definitely some contact, not totally undeserved. And again, playing scrappy like that, you can't afford to pick up fouls.
Nick Louderman checks in for Richwoods, and now Bloomington working it around. Here's a 3 from Newsome, and it's good. Nico Newsome making an early case for player of the game. He's got 7 of Bloomington's 11 points just as we cross the halfway point in the first quarter. Nice bounce pass from Louderman down low, and again, Richwoods can't finish. And the rebound is cleared there by Stevens. Beasley working one-on-one on the perimeter. He's not afraid of going mano-a-mano. He draws the foul there. That will be Richwoods' 4th team foul. That will go on Markel Newsome. Now Bloomington will slow it down a bit. Here's Shuey, who had 24 against Prairie Central. And they draw another foul. Looks like that one will go on Greg Burnside.
And not letting him play too much here early on. It's been a bit of a slow start with some of the fouls and the turnovers. But again, both teams still need to find that pace. And speaking of pace, we talk so much about the shot clock as we get a steal right there. I don't think either of these teams have a problem with the shot clock if there was one tonight.
I was going to say, there is no shot clock. Although I can't fault you if you're still in tournament champions. Was a 3 for Louderman falls. The junior shooting guard for Richwoods gets them back to within a possession.
It is weird seeing it at the Tournament of Champions, the shot clock, and now not having it. It's certainly something different, but it's coming in future years, and it's going to be part of all levels of basketball.
Scrum on the floor, picked up there by Jackson. Burnside slow to get up for Richwoods. 3 from Louderman. That was for the lead. That one hit iron, but it will stay with Richwoods as Sabri Quantum checks in for Burnside. Another player you mentioned, Gavin, that can provide a big impact off the bench.
And he knows his role really well. He's a football player, best described as a glue guy. He does the little things, not really a shooter, just gets in there, plays scrappy, bigger than he is.
Nice move down low. That was Javen Moore, another football guy for Richwoods. He couldn't finish. And now Quantum clears the board, and Richwoods will get a 3rd chance.
Couple offensive boards from Sabri Quantum right there. Again, showing exactly what he can do off the bench.
How about the tenacity there? Moore plays catch with Louderman. Now it's back to Newsom at the top of the key. Elbow jumper rises up. It's good. Richwoods has a response. And we are back knotted up at 11. Now Shuey the other way, and he had it blocked partially by Javen Moore. Javen Moore, so athletic. Great wide receiver for this Knights football team. But Gavin, speaking of glue guys, yeah, you had mentioned, like Sabri Quantum is, there's the glue guy himself for Illinois basketball from a couple years ago, Devontae Williams, here in the house tonight.
He is, and I saw him, again, I've seen Richwoods play a couple times this year. He was down at Normal West taking in some basketball. He's been all over the area taking in some Peoria hoops, so great to see him back in the 309 and watching some of the youngsters get it done on the hardwood.
All tied up at 11 here in the first quarter from the dungeon at Richwoods. Bloomington had a quick run, got up 11-6, and Richwoods, their defensive unit from the bench has been big as Quantum draws the foul, and the hosts now have a chance to take the lead from the line. That foul will go on John Shuey of Bloomington. That will be his first and their team's second. Quantum, a deep squat from the free throw line. Quite the interesting free throw motion.
I would say he's still in football mode, maybe throwing a football, but he's a linebacker. You know, he might still be in linebacker mode.
Shot up and good. Doesn't matter how it looks. All it matters is it goes in the hoop. Sabri Quantum gives Richwoods a 1-point lead. Slow pass there, almost picked off. Shuey finds his teammate Thompson down low and is blocked. That was Jared Jackson. Now here comes Richwoods the other way, and Jackson open around the perimeter. Before he was picked up there by Shuey. And Javen Moore checks back in for Richwoods as we are now under the 1-minute mark here, the first quarter. Again, glad you're with us here on Clutch Sports Media on your Friday night here in early mid-December. Christmas time, not too far away. And speaking of Christmas, get more into it later, but State Farm Holiday Classic coming up soon as well, Gavin. Basketball season really starting to pick up lots of good games around the area.
State Farm Holiday Classic is a great tournament. They've got multiple locations of games. There's a boys bracket, a girls bracket, big schools, small schools, just about everything you want in high school hoops. Got local teams, teams from across the state, across the country even, so it's really a plethora of options to watch. And if you're a high school basketball fan, you can tune in with us or go down and check out the State Farm Holiday Classic just after Christmas, last week of December.
Certainly, we'll be at Bloomington High School, the Robert Frank Gymnasium. Nice historic venue there as Beasley gets a nice runner to fall. He's up to 6 points. Him and Newsom have done all the scoring for Bloomington so far. Quantum, another offensive board. See what they call it. It will be a foul on Bloomington. So that will be the third team foul on the Purple Raiders. Inbound goes to Newsom, back down low to Quantum, and he got blocked partially there by Jaylani Stevens. Nice anticipation there.
We've seen a lot of turnovers, a lot of miscues, but also a lot of blocks and steals in this game. So again, a full stat sheet tonight.
Javen Moore spins into the paint, and that one looked like it bounced off of a Bloomington player's foot, so a little choppy game flow here at the end of the first quarter. Now with 8 seconds, it's Newsom dialing up a three. Is no good, and jump ball possession will stay with the Knights.
Feels like the longest 10-second possession ever. Couple of fouls, couple out-of-bounds plays. Now we got a jump ball. What will we see next?
Well, there's only 3.6 seconds left. Almost an oop, but no good. Now here's Beasley at the horn. It's good. Bloomington.
Nice job right there from Adam Beasley driving into the lane. Coast to coast in just 3 seconds. Burst the speed, getting up and in and dropping in the bucket. Puts them up by 3.
And we'll take this quick break to remind you that tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Jody Brown State Farm. For all of your insurance needs, give Jody a call at 309-693-1103 or at jodybrown.agency.com. Excuse me, Gavin, I had a big cough there right at the end of the first quarter. I need to get a drink of water real quick.
No worries. It's a long game. So far, it's been kind of a slow-moving affair between these two sides. 9 fouls combined. 6 on the Knights, 3 on the Purple Raiders. some shots have been made, some good creation of shots. You look at Adam Beasley, who's obviously had some nice shots. He had that last-second basket to finish out the first quarter. So Beasley and company getting it done with a lead here in the Dungeon. Nothing easy to do on the road, but again, you throw records out the window, 7-1. Richwoods has been very good. They'll continue to be good, but the Purple Raiders say, that's not anything we're worried about. They want to just come in here and play some good basketball.
Playing good basketball they are. Nice back and forth action in the first quarter. And now the Purple Raiders try to extend their lead. There's Newsom with the ball in his hands. He's been a playmaker so far, but there he turns it over. Here's Jackson the other way, throws it up, and it traveled along the entire back part of the rim before falling out. Other way, it's Newsom, and he went up and got fouled. So he'll do the line with a chance to make it a two-possession game. Yeah, and Bloomington last year went 7-21, a little bit of a down year for them. Obviously, very good team that just played lots of tough competition, and it seems like you get that feeling for Bloomington every year, is that they look like a very good basketball team. They just run into lots of very good teams that they play, but certainly a good start to this year with big wins over Normal West and Centennial in the early going.
They've had some inconsistencies, and I think that you'll find that at times with Bloomington, but they've always had a tendency to have some really good players. I just think as a team, they haven't really been able to put it together, but we saw them last year, the Crossroads Shootout. They're always going to be competitive. Even on their bad nights, they'll stick with you.
3 from Newsom was no good, but offensive board taken in by Javen Moore. Now here's Louderman. He's not afraid to shoot. And another offensive board. That pass, though, is picked away. And now here's Bloomington in transition. Newsom is fouled. Was it Louderman or Jackson on the foul? That will go on Louderman. That will be his first and the 8th for Richwoods. So Bloomington in the bonus will shoot 1-1. Even though it was already shooting foul, so it would have been shooting anyway.
True. We will get some bonus action, though. Looks like they're discussing this, though. Perhaps we get a 1-1. I don't know if they're going to call this on the floor. So it is a 1-1 after all, which even the referees had to kind of deliberate on, so not to any fault of ours, but they will be in the bonus. That's a while to be in the bonus, John. You've got 7 minutes. Any foul, you go to the stripe. So tough position for Richwoods. They may have to kind of let up on some of that aggressiveness.
Certainly, and that's something that Richwoods has just really hung their head on so far in this game, has been their aggressiveness and their tenacity on the offensive boards especially. But 8 fouls, Gavin, you said it. You can't play too aggressive, otherwise Bloomington's just going to keep on going to the line and putting up points.
Richwoods has had a tough time getting the ball inside and scoring, kind of living beyond the arc right now. Traveled right there, and again, really just stifling defense from Bloomington, just kind of closing off the entire lane. Nowhere to go in the paint, John. So they're really forcing Richwoods to try to make and create their own shot or work beyond the perimeter, and it's given Purple Raiders a 5-point edge so far.
Bloomington, not a particularly big team, Gavin. Really, their biggest player, at least looking at roster height-wise, is Nico Newsom at 6'6". Again, neither is Richwoods, though. No real towers or skyscrapers, as you would say, on either team. Lots of athleticism and talent, though, as second chance board tipped up and no good, but Nico Newsom is there to clean up the mess, and he is now up to 10 overall for Bloomington.
He's been really good. Him and Adam Beasley showing why they're part of a really good 1-2 punch. You got to throw John Shuey in there too, but again, a good variety so far, and Bloomington's done a lot of things right here in this game so far.
Newsom with 11, Beasley with 8. They have all 19 of Bloomington's points. And how about the offensive board there from Jackson? And he lays it up and in.
Jackson playing active there, ended up getting the steal and the score.
Shuey the other way, is layup. No good, and this one will go back to Richwoods.
Basket interference on that one. Tried to come back for the putback slam, it looked like, John. Just ball was still hanging on the rim. Can't do anything about it till it rolls off, so it'll go back to the Knights.
You know, Gavin, sometimes it's just really hard to time your jump. That's usually what you see a lot for those basket interference calls. And, you know, you jump up and you expect the ball to come down. It just kind of hangs up there for a little bit.
Well, you know, John, I'm a big dunker myself. You know, I can throw down some windmills and things. You know, I have a hard time timing up those putback slams. In all reality, though, I couldn't dunk if it was the last thing I wanted to do. I couldn't dunk for my life.
I was going to say, 5'10" Gavin Russell having a dunk show at the East Side Center over in East Peoria. We'll take a quick break. Thank our great sponsor for tonight's broadcast, Jody Brown State Farm Agency in Peoria. For all of your insurance needs, give Jody a call at 309-693-1103 or visit jodybrown.agency.com. Bloomington leading Richwoods early on, 19-14. Adam Beasley and Nico Newsom been doing the damage for Bloomington. Although Richwoods, a little bit more diverse scoring effort. Seen baskets from Nick Louderman and Newsom, Jackson, Tavy Smith as well. Lots of offensive boards has led to lots of second chance points for the Knights. Gotta think that some of that Spencer Johnson, the head coach of Bloomington, is talking about in the timeout. Thrown up shot there from Smith was no good, and just as we mentioned, another second chance here for Richwoods.
You got to look at those rebounds, but I'm impressed with this defense that the Raiders have employed. The zone has worked really effectively. They're closing off the middle, again, forcing Richwoods to get into the perimeter. They do get open shots like that, just not able to hit.
Haven't been able to hit so far, and here's the and one. J.D. Etherly, a big basket for Richwoods. And Gavin, that was their third chance. So a huge bucket there for the Knights, and you leave them open for the perimeter shots. If you miss it, you just get the offensive board, go up, strong to the hoop, maybe draw a foul, maybe, and another offensive board right there. Etherly right there to put it back in. And a 4-point trip for the Knights, and they're back to within one.
I praise the defense of Bloomington. It's been good, but can't really do much if all you're doing is just letting them get it right back. Good defense always goes so far. You got to be able to rebound as well, so something they'll need to kind of evaluate in the coming minutes.
Nice balancing act there from Newsom to stay in bounds. Richwoods now the chance to take the lead. Newsom thought about a three. Down low, he was looking for Jackson. He couldn't hang on to it. Now here comes Newsom, and he draws the charge.
Had that gone as a block, that would have been an and one too. So lucky break there for the Knights, but looked like he was in good position. Kind of just was fading backwards and stopped, got set. Looked like a good call to me.
Tavy Smith, who drew the charge, checks out and gets a big high five from his head coach, William Smith, in his 13th season here at Richwoods. Now here's Newsom. Here it's Tyrese Carter over in the corner. Another three from Newsom, no good. And Bloomington able to prevent a second chance from Richwoods. Now here's Beasley. He had it poked away. Quick ball movement. Three ball from Carson. Ryan was way off. Now here's Jackson. He is fouled hard by Shuey. Boy, he took a tumble to the hardwood. Looks to be all right. He'll definitely be shooting too.
Looked like a basketball play to me. I mean, it was a tough collision right there, John, but looked like Newsom was going up to try to make the block and just caught a little bit too much of the body. Looks like he'll be all right, but chance to tie or take the lead with a couple shots from the stripe from Jackson.
Number 4, Stevens back on for the Raiders, as is number 4, Smith for the Knights.
Bring back in Stevens here, bring him a little more size, perhaps on the rebounding front for the Purple Raiders.
Were you able
Second free throw, no good. 0 for 2 from the stripe. Richwoods gets another offensive board, though. It's something that we've seen so much in this first half. Weaving it around. Again, not a lot of options, but the second chance, second, third, and even fourth chances from Richwoods we've seen have been paramount to their scoring. Jackson up. Tough take, couldn't get it to go. Up ball bouncing around still with Richwoods. Up goes Burnside, and he's finally fouled, John. We've seen so many of these long possessions with multiple offensive boards. Really, really good play from the Knights.
Gavin, I apologize. I had to do some quick changing of our score bug. Had to update, make sure we had that right conference. Big 12 conference basketball, not Mid-Illini. So just had to fix that real quick, but while it was going, it seemed like I didn't miss much because another offensive board for Richwoods, and they find themselves at the line. So really pretty typical sort of possession that Richwoods has seen all night long, although they're still down. So
the free throws have been a struggle. They're 0 for 3 in their last 3 shots. They'll break the streak right there, but they only tie it up. Bloomington does catch a break. Again, they got to work on those boards. They got to try to clean the glass better going in the second half.
19 all here at Richwoods Community High School. It's been a good one so far. Again, Beasley and Newsom, the only players that have scored for Bloomington so far. Now the other way, here comes Etherly. They shot up and no good. And Bloomington able to get it back. Now the other way. Ball batted around. Who's got it? Bloomington does. And that was Jelani Stevens who was going to lay it up and in, but maybe got a little too fancy with it. Try to scoop it up and in. Kind of got almost rejected there by the rim a little bit.
Yeah, it was an awkward angle, and I think it was just kind of a late thought going up with it. Kind of collected that ball up towards just past the free throw line, so not much time to gather right there, and wasn't able to get it off cleanly over the back. So we go the other way now. Both teams in the bonus shooting 1-and-1. Richards struggled from the line tonight, so got to make them count.
Here is Burnside at the line. Just made his last one, and that one is likewise good. Burnside, one thing about him, Gavin, that I really was apparent during football season, and I found out when I was doing some broadcast prep for their game against Notre Dame down at Dozer Park, but Greg Burnside is such a leader for this Richwoods High School team as they get another offensive board. Deep 2 from Burnside is good. And Richwoods now has the lead 22-19. And say it with me again, Gavin. Second chance points for Richwoods. Bloomington has got to put a stop to this sooner or later.
We usually get themes to games as you go throughout. You get into the second quarter, the third quarter. You realize what's going to happen in the game, what kind of the theme is for each team. And right now, all we're seeing is offensive boards. It's not even Richwoods playing their best offensively. They're just getting enough opportunities. Eventually, you're going to find the back of the net somehow from the free throw line, from beyond the arc, or in that case from Burnside along two. Richwoods keeping themselves in this game by getting some boards on the glass.
Sometimes just being the tougher team is all you got to be. It's been a good one so far. We'll take this quick break to thank our sponsor for tonight's broadcast, Jody Brown, State Farm agent here in Peoria. For all your insurance needs, auto, home, or life, you name it, give Jody a call at 309-693-1103 or visit jodybrownagency.com. Gavin, Bloomington is still in the bonus. Richwoods with 8 team fouls. They're trying to get something going offensively. Maybe they try to attack the paint here. Shuey spins and loses control. Now the other way for Richwoods there was Javen Moore. And a scrum on the floor. Who's got it? Will this be a jump ball?
I think they're going to say foot of the Richwoods player that had possession at the time, and catch it that was, but he was out of bounds. Looks like his foot was on the baseline, so it will go back the other way towards the Purple Raiders. Beasley, again, been one of the big motors behind this Bloomington offense. trying to make it happen again.
Ball's out of bounds, so turnover to Richwoods.
Another turnover there for Bloomington. So, the second quarter has been really tough for them. They've scored just 4 points, led 15-12 at the end of the first quarter. Now driving the paint here is in Newsom. It's no good. And that one looks like that one off of Stevens. So, again, another second chance for the Knights. Now Newsom dishes it over to Moore along the left block. His floater's no good. Rebound by Trey Thompson of Bloomington. He works one-on-one on Jackson, who got a little handsy with him, and he doesn't like that call. That will send Thompson to the line.
That was going to be against Jackson. That's his second.
Maybe perhaps a little ticky-tack there. Again, these are two pretty aggressive teams. They play pretty fast-paced. You don't necessarily have that called every single time, so tough break right there, but making it count, taking the opportunity, making your shots at the charity stripe. That's what you got to do. Foul's a foul, John. You're not the official. You just got to go make your shots at the line.
Thompson makes one of them count. Now here comes Richards quickly the other way, and Newsom, the and one, and he lets Stewie know about it too. Lets out a scream right in his face. He was pumped up, and what a bucket there. How about the body control to get that up and put it in the perfect place right off the glass while you're in transition after you take a shot.
Nice job from Newsom, and that's great body control, as you mentioned. He's one of 4 seniors on this team, so not a ton of overall experience on this Richwoods team. They're pretty young, all things considered, but Newsom showing why he's a leader and obviously plays some really key minutes. He can get some big buckets like that and gets a big three-point play.
Newsom gets the free throw. He's up to 8 points for the Knights. That leads all their scorers. Bloomington looking to find something before the half. Here's Adam Beasley. Almost backcourt violation there. And a timeout called by Spencer Johnson. He is not happy with how that Purple Raider offense was looking. So, Yevon, what do you draw up here? Maybe try and go for a 3, maybe work the ball around inside out, make it to the line? What are you trying to do here?
Yeah, it's been tough sledding recently for Bloomington. They haven't had much consistency on offense, and a lot of it's been in transition, so just got to find something quickly.
Certainly, and if you need to find insurance quickly, you know who to call, Jody Brown State Farm. For all your insurance needs, give Jody a call at 309-693-1103 or visit JodyBrownAgency.com. I want to thank Jody, all of our other State Farm agents, for their support of Central Illinois high school athletics.
Minute 13 to go in the half out of the timeout. Mentioned what did they draw up here? I don't know if they drew anything up. Just got to reset your guys. Try to move the ball around, but some hounding defense from the Knights.
Quantum and Newsom are hounding Beasley, and he's trying to shake them off as much as he could. And in the lane was Stevens. Richwoods wanted to travel, and it looks like the Purple Raiders might get a trip to the line out of this after all. Stevens looked like he had the ball for quite some time, really close to being called a travel there. As Thompson's first free throw is up and good.
They haven't been shy to call travels this evening if you're just tuning in, so something they were probably looking at. Must have been clean to them on the floor and got both from the stripe. 2 big free throws. It was a must-needed productive possession from Bloomington. Keeps them within 1 bucket.
Despite giving Richwoods all the second chance opportunities they could really want, for that matter, they're still within 3. Neither team is led by more than 5, if my memory serves me right. Yeah, don't quote me on that, but Newsom, deep 2 is no good. Now here comes Beasley looking to push. And he is fouled there by Newsom. That was a clear foul there, and Newsom not fan of the call, but that one was pretty apparent. That one will be his second.
Bloomington to shoot 2 regardless from here on out in the first half.
We're going to get a line change coming for the Knights. So they'll get a fresh group in for the last 26 and a half. Beasley can't get the first one to go, but he'll get 2 shots. Now, of course, Richwoods has picked up 10 fouls, so double bonus for these last few seconds of the first half.
Familiar faces at this point, however.
Start lineup now for the Knights. Jared Jackson, Burnside, J.D. Etherly in there, along with Louderman and Tavy Smith. Second free throw is good for Bloomington. See if Richwoods holds it for the final shot here. Across the timeline with about 20 seconds to go. Right around that 7-8 second mark is usually when you want to start going. We'll see when it starts to try and get something. Smith now with 7 seconds, now with 5. Louderman in the corner, got fouled on the 3 by Trey Thompson. And Nick Louderman will be shooting a trio from the charity stripe. It's a mental mistake there from Bloomington. Can't foul him on the 3 right before the half like that.
No, and I saw a couple of the coaches and even players on the Bloomington bench kind of throw their arms up. Just got to be smarter than that. Don't want to give him opportunities like this. And Louderman's a shooter. That's what he does for this team. So I don't think he'll have too many problems here at the free throw line and can push that Knights lead up a little bit farther.
Second free throw is no good. Broadcaster's jinx rears his ugly head there. But you mentioned it, Gavin. Louderman does have a good shooting stroke and dropped in a 3 earlier. He's got 4 points. But Bloomington does have time to get a quick bucket as the second one is no good. Ball batted around. And this one will stay with Richwoods with 9/10 of a second left. So quick catch and release is about all they can do here.
They did not stop the clock accurately there, though. I think there's a little bit of confusion, so maybe a bad break there for Richwoods. I think they're going to go ahead and fix that because there was much more time left on the clock, a good 2 to 3 seconds, if I would say so myself. They'll try to figure this out.
Yeah, Gavin, it looked like the clock was stopped a little bit later than it should have been. I wouldn't be surprised if they added some time back on the clock, although I don't know how much it changes. You know, not much of a difference between having 1.5 or 2 seconds rather than
I think
9
there was
tenths.
more than that, though. I think that they should have stopped the clock far sooner. I feel like maybe the buzzer, the horn even went off errantly for some reason. I'm not really sure. It's kind of a wild sequence there, but
we had a great look at the conversation there going down at half court. Camera operator Paco Alonso doing some great work to get in a real tight there. Quick shot at the buzzer from Richwoods, no good. That was Nehemiah Mason. That one almost went down, but Richwoods still takes a 3-point lead into the locker room. They outscore Bloomington 14-8 in the second quarter. Lots of second chance points, lots of trips to the line, but not a lot of ground being given up either way in the first half, Gavin.
no, it's been kind of back and forth. Both teams have had some errors. The turnovers have been a problem at times. There's been some inconsistencies, but that's just hard-hitting basketball that we've seen from both of these programs. Fast-paced, you're going to have that from time to time. I'd expect some adjustments to be made. Try to get your teams a little bit more refocused heading into the second half, and it's a close one. It's Big 12 basketball. It's what you come to expect, especially even early in the season from the Big 12.
Richwoods beat Bloomington in this matchup last year 49-36. Can they do it again? Still got 2 more quarters, maybe even more to find out. For now, we'll take a quick break here at halftime and come back with more live coverage from the dungeon here. Richwoods leads 26-23 here on Clutch Sports Media. Welcome back to the dungeon, as they call it, here at Richwoods High School. Both teams warming up, coming out of their locker room talks. Richwoods leading Bloomington 26-23. It's been a back and forth first quarter. A good one so far, but Gavin, Richwoods, they're in the lead right now, looking for another big win to get to 3-1 in Big 12 play. They're 7-1 overall, their best start in 5 years, 2017. They also went 7-1. Didn't end their season quite as well, but this team is looking really good to start the year.
They've started out really well, and what I've seen from them, even in their lone loss to Normal West, they're going to be a hard-hitting team. Again, they're very aggressive, and we saw that throughout this first half, but kind of taking a look at their schedule. You know, they went up north, went up to the Rockford area, the 815, as you may say, and taking on some teams from the Chicago area, from some of the suburbs, beating St. Charles North, Boylan Catholic, Chicago Marshall, and Freepoint, coming back to beat Peoria Notre Dame. After losing to Normal West, they've taken down Manual and IVC, so they've been on the road quite a bit. I believe this may be one of their first home games of the season, having been gone up in Rockford and playing all of their other games on the road. I think this may be the night's opener at the dungeon. So a lot of games on the road, but 7-1 is a pretty successful start for a team out of the Big 12.
You learn something new every day, Gavin, and yeah, if their schedule is accurate, at least according to Max Preps, have it pulled up right now, this would be their first home game of the year. And again, that Boylan Thanksgiving Invitational, they won it going 4-0, took down the Hose Boylan. They're a very good team as well. Saw them at the Crossroads shootout down in Normal West last year, but Normal West, a common opponent for this Bloomington and Richwoods teams. Bloomington beat them in the intercity shootout 62-57, so that was a big win for them. Right after they had a season opening loss to Bloomington Central Catholic, 70-66, and that Saints team is no slouch either, so Bloomington can hang with the best of them.
They can, and they've played some really good teams. Again, Community is very good, and you even look at even Prairie Central. I mean, they score a lot of points. It's one of those things on any given night, any team can pick up a W. Bloomington just trying to find some consistency. They've hung tough in this game, but got 2 more quarters to try and prove it and get a big win.
Bloomington, in their last game, Gavin, shot nearly 51% from the field. They get a quick bucket there from Trey Thompson, or rather that was Shuey for Bloomington, but they're going up against this Richwoods defense, Gavin. We haven't mentioned it yet, but no opponent has scored 60 points on them yet, and only on 2 occasions have they allowed more than 50 points. As Burnside double clutches and goes up and is good. That one thought about falling out, but goes down, and that's now a 6 for Burnside.
How about Shuey coming on the other end, though? A very quick response, a pump fake and a step through, keeping them within 1, so some early success on offense for the Purple Raiders.
Shuey on the court with 3 fouls, something that plagued Bloomington a little bit in the first half, as that one is good from Jackson down in the post, so lots of good ball movement.
Both teams coming out with the offensive fury out of the locker room.
Shuey went up with it like he was going to shoot, decided against it. Now here's Newsom resetting. Now Thompson on the wing. Back to Newsom with the left hand. It's up and good. Right there with J.D. Etherly draped all over him. And Newsom's bucket gets Bloomington 2 within 1 and puts them up to 13 on the night. Newsom up and good. And both teams coming out shooting white hot out of the halftime break. And now Beasley on the other end. You can't even catch my breath, Gavin. Wherever you look, there's just basket on one end, basket on the other end, basket on one end.
Both teams just throwing blows. I mean, no shortage of offense, really picking it up, and maybe switching ends of the court or something helped. I have no idea, John. Really no explanation, just offense picking up in a big way.
Very efficient both teams have been to start the second quarter. Not many misses That one, though, no good from Jackson. Rebound was, looks like it was brought in there by Trey Thompson. Good sportsmanship there from Jelani Stevens, helping up Greg Burnside. Love to see that. Hotly contested battle like this, conference rivals. After this, Bloomington, their next Big 12 opponent will be at Normal Community. That one will be played on December 16th. And on that same day, Richwoods will drive just a couple miles down University Street, a couple other more turns, and they'll head to the Lions Den over at Peoria High. That should be a great game.
It's going to tell you a lot about this Peoria teams coming out of the Big 12. Should be tightly contested, both with big expectations for the season.
Nice tip away there from Javen Moore. And it looks like that we called a charge, I believe, as Richwoods takes possession. Looks like that may have been Burnside. Didn't get a best look at it, but looked like that was Burnside that did draw the charge for Richwoods. Burnside a leader for this Knights team. Again, obviously you expect that coming from football team's quarterback, as the three from Tavy Smith is no good. And there's Burnside right there, Johnny on the spot with the offensive board. And Newsom can't finish, but such a leader for this Richwoods basketball team as well. He's involved in the ROTC here. As football head coach Jim Ulrich had high praise for him as not just a football player, but as a young man himself.
Again, you need good leaders like that, and it doesn't even take the most skilled player. I would say Burnside's pretty skilled. We've seen that on the court and on the football field, but certainly you need those leaders, guys that are vocal, and he provides a big spark in that way for the Richwoods Knights.
You know, it takes some skill to also grow a head of hair like that. That's a impressive set of locks by Greg Burnside, I gotta admit. But take a quick break to remind you that tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Jody Brown at State Farm here in Peoria for all of your insurance needs, auto, home, life, or hair. Maybe she offers hair insurance, who knows? Give her a call at 309-693-1103 or at jodybrown.agency.com. We'll have to put in a word for Jody and maybe talk to Greg Burnside, see if he wants to insure that fro that he's got going on.
You can insure just about anything nowadays.
Indeed, you can.
You got to insure the valuables, hair being one of them.
Richwoods trying to ensure their lead. Just 1 point. Here is Newsom went up for it and was fouled there by Trey Thompson. That will be the third Bloomington foul of the half.
I think it may have just gone out of bounds, John. I'm not sure they picked up a foul there.
Was a physical play there on the ball. That one bounces off the lower body of Shuey. You are right, Gavin. That was not a foul for Bloomington. As Burnside dishes it to Newsom. He's been busy in the second half, and nice drive along the left side is no good. And Bloomington will take possession. That one was out on Richwood. So opportunity for the Purple Raiders to take the lead as Shuey speeds up the court and looks for Stevens, waiting in the corner, double clutches, maybe thought about too much, and that one is no good.
Thought he might dunk it, but kind of afterthought.
And Javen Moore, one-on-one goes up on Beasley, draws the foul, and he'll head to the line. That will be foul number 2 on Adam Beasley.
Don't want to get him into foul trouble. Even if he's not scoring, Beasley just provides a spark for this team, a ball handler, really the definition of combo guard. Knights chance to push to a 3-point lead, though, if he can hit the second free throw.
Moore's first free throw is good. Gavin, for Bloomington, all of their starters, which are all the players on the court right now, all have at least 2 fouls. Shuey has 3. And it looks like Bloomington has picked up another one there.
Lane violation.
Lane violation, rather. So Javen Moore will get second chance to drain a free throw, and he can't make good on it, so lane violation or not, remains a 2-point lead for the Purple Raiders.
I've noticed some things, John. A lot of Purple Raiders rallying to the ball now after they gave up a lot of offensive boards in the first half. Maybe that's something they were preaching in the locker room. Everybody rally to the ball.
You got to just get bodies near the ball and just crash the glass as hard as you can. Even if you maybe can't grab it, maybe you can tip it, maybe make it less sure of a rebound if you're Bloomington. For Richwoods, if you're able to maybe get a tip, maybe one of your teammates is waiting there on the perimeter and you can push out in transition. So, but you are right, lots of more clean rebounding and boxing out from this Purple Raiders team. They still trail by 2, but get that feeling this one may come down in just 1 or 2 possessions in the fourth quarter, Gavin.
It really could.
Burnside feeds it there to Tavy Smith, working at the office near the free throw line, and wild pass brought in there by Smith. His layup was no good, and Javen Moore is fouled. One up with it, made the basket, but a whistle is on the floor. So that will just be a normal foul there for Bloomington. That one will go on Stevens. Burnside gets it in to Newsom. And Tavy Smith walked with it there at the top of the key. Another travel. It's continuing to hurt Richwoods as Beasley tying his shoe. Shuey looking for some help, and he gets it into Nico Newsom. And Shuey now finds some open space, defended by Burnside. How about the spin move there and the bucket? John Shuey ties it up, and he has a chance to give the Purple Raiders the lead.
He's been ready to go for a while, had some foul trouble, had to sit on the bench a little more than he would have liked, but wound him up, and he's taken off here in the second half. He's made some big plays right there, arguably the biggest of the second half so far, and chance to give Bloomington the lead.
Nice spin move there on the left side of the basket. Again, I don't know if Shuey is a left or right-handed player, but doing that on the left side regardless. Very impressive there. The free throw is good, and Bloomington now takes the lead. Shuey had 24 in their last game against Prairie Central. He is up to 7 here tonight, playing with 3 fouls. Here he is again, and he has it taken away from him. Now here comes Tavy Smith. Almost blocked there by Beasley. He did play down conservatively. You gotta feel like he didn't want to pick up a foul there.
No, gotta be smart, and that's good awareness from the senior.
And Javen Moore hacks Shuey on his odyssey to the basket.
This time by Jackson, that's Jared's third.
Or rather, that foul goes on Jared Jackson. That is his third. So Shuey will have a chance to give Bloomington the lead again. First one is good. He's got a good shooting stroke.
33 Woodland back on for Bloomington.
As Jelani Stevens checks out for Bloomington, and the sub, Addison Worthman, comes in. J.D. Etherly in the game for Richwoods as well. Second one up and good from Shuey. And just like that, Bloomington takes the lead right back in this game, a tug of war.
A lot of ways you could describe it, but it's been back and forth, a lot more offense.
Is waiting down there by the basket was Etherly. Missed the first, missed the second, and he fights there with Beasley for it. Beasley wants a jump, and he'll get it. That will favor his team. So Bloomington, they seem more aggressive here in this third quarter. That's something we talked about for this game. Is you got to be locked in. They got to play urgent. Seeing a lot more of that here in the third frame. Here's Worthman. Drives the paint and gets fouled.
They really like those kind of handoff dribble drives. I've noticed that a lot. Shuey's gone in. We've seen more shots from the stripe here in the second half from Bloomington. That'll just be a foul on the floor. But again, they like that dribble drive, really not utilizing the perimeter much at all. We haven't seen too many three-point shots from Bloomington tonight. They like to get it inside to the paint.
Here's Shuey, again, driving the paint. On there on Quantum, and his layup up and good. So John Shuey joins Nico Newsom and Adam Beasley in double digits. That was their three-headed monster that we mentioned, Gavin, at the top of the broadcast against Prairie Central. They combined for 74. And that loss to the Hawks. So far, they've combined for 35 of their 38 tonight. Trey Thompson, the only other Purple Raider to score.
Yeah, they do a lot for this team, and you combine those three guys, you're going to get something good out of it on a regular basis. It's just when teams can kind of slow one or two of those guys down, do they struggle. You'd like to see some other Purple Raiders get in on the offensive side, but they've done well defensively, and I think where they may lack offensively with some depth, they pick it up on the other side of the ball in a big way.
Beasley works it over to Shuey. They want the ball in his hands. Foul away from the ball, and will go on Richwoods. It will either be on Louderman or Newsom, I believe. And it is on Newsom, so that is his third, and Richwoods' sixth. So Bloomington will be in the bonus the rest of the way out.
That's a while to go. I mean, that's plus 9 minutes. Where you're any foul, you get chances at the stripe, so got to make them count if you're Bloomington, but maybe got to take the foot off the gas pedal if you're Richwoods.
By comparison, Richwoods has 4 team fouls here in the second half. Here's Newsom working with it. Now down to Worthman in the paint. Tumbles to the ground, no good. And a foul on the rebound there. Looks like that might go on Newsom, Gavin. That would be his third. And indeed it does.
And he'll go to the bench, and obviously the Bloomington sideline is a little frustrated. They might have thought that Worthman got fouled on that drive, but no call. To have that foul on Newsom, a little bit frustrating, understandably, but again, it's a physical game, and you're going to get those calls quite often.
Three was in and out there for Tavy Smith, who gets the offensive board. Now here's Jackson. Kicks it over, finding an open man in the corner. That's Tyrese Carter. His shot no good. Now Bloomington looking to run. Here comes Stevens. Lays it up and in. A pretty bucket in transition. And the first bucket of the game for Jelani Stevens is a big one. Bloomington now leads by 5. Now the other way, Jackson up and in. Count it. Jared Jackson, a big basket to respond to the Purple Raiders' recent run. And he can get the lead, or the deficit rather, now down to within 2.
Huge drive from Jackson. Jackson really not much of a scorer himself. He facilitates a lot for his teammates. He doesn't shoot the ball, but what he does provide in the scoring column, he can get inside and score just like that. Using some excellent athleticism, caps off a huge three-point play, and he'll head to the bench, get a quick breather. I don't think he'll be out too long.
Certainly not. He's been playing good so far tonight. 7 points for Richwoods, and they have trouble on the inbound as Bloomington. And there's a foul call. Looks like it will go on Nehemiah Mason, number 20, who just checked into the game for Richwoods. That will result in Bloomington shooting free throws on the other end. So something we got to watch this game, Gavin, is this game might be decided on who's the better free throw shooting team.
It might be, and again, we saw this in the first half where the fouls kind of picked up initially, kind of slowed down in the second quarter. So I'm wondering if we'll see a similar trend, but can't capitalize there. Could come back to bite him later.
Richwoods has a chance to tie it up after the missed free throw, and he does. Tavy Smith flies down the court, and we are all tied up at 40. headed into the third quarter. What a game this has been, and what a finish this is priming to be.
Buckle up. It's going to be a fun one here in the River City tonight. Big 12 action. Been a great game so far. Nothing better.
We'll take a quick break to remind you that tonight's broadcast brought to you by Jody Brown State Farm in Peoria. For all of your insurance needs, auto, home, or life, give Jody a call at 309-693-1103 or visit jodybrown.agency.com. I want to thank Jody for her support of Central Illinois High School athletics. 40 all here in Richwoods. No place I'd rather be, Gavin. I don't know about you, and don't turn off your TV sets or close your laptop or shut off your phone. Wherever you're watching, this finish is going to be a good one. This one has been back and forth all night, and you feel like this one's going to come down to probably the last maybe even 10 seconds.
It could come down to the very last possession, and you talk about free throws. It could come down to some of those late free throw situations. Unless one team can really turn on the Jets and extend the lead out. You think a lead maybe even as much as 5 or 6 could be enough to do it in this game, but for 3 quarters it's been even, 40-40. That's what you see on the scoreboard, so I wouldn't expect too much different as both teams have had their flaws in this game, but they kind of counterbalance with some big plays of their own. We're in store for a great last 8 minutes of this game.
Recapping the game so far, it's a little game reset. Bloomington jumped out to a 15-12 lead after the first quarter. The three is no good there from Smith. Another offensive board for Burnside. For the story of the night for Richwoods, and that story continues to play in the fourth quarter. Burnside, the bucket, and the bruise.
Huge play from Burnside, collecting the air ball, but no problem. Another chance to get 3 right here the old-fashioned way.
Greg Burnside got up in there and physical play. Grabbed that offensive board, and he finishes off the three-point play. Burnside, a player that isn't leading the Richwoods in scoring, but has been really instrumental in a subtle sort of way. He's got 9. Going back to recap it, though, Richwoods really took advantage of second chance opportunities in the second quarter after Nico Newsom and Adam Beasley stole the show for Bloomington in the early going. Now here's Beasley, and that one, or rather that was Stevens. That one you could see the spin on it. Thought about going down and didn't.
It touched every part of the rim and just did not drop in. I think it was a cyclone heading up into the rim right there. Could not get it to go.
That's a great way to describe it, Gavin. It was a cyclone. It was spinning like a tornado. Shout out to our former member Cody Horoskins, Clutch Sports Media, big Iowa State fan, big Cyclone guy. Wonder if he liked that. Richwoods with the ball now. Newsom dishes it to Tavy Smith. Now down to Burnside. Down low again. Here's Jackson. Bloomington had to be careful to not foul, give him another three-point play. And being fouled on the three-pointer there was Trey Thompson. He got fouled there by Etherly.
That was a tough foul.
That was a tough foul. He came flying in there.
He barely had time to blink shooting that three-pointer before he was just taken out. Can't make them count, though. These are big opportunities, and I talked about maybe you get a 5-6 point lead. Could that be enough? Richwoods gets a very fast 5-point lead, so Bloomington's got to stay within that one possession distance, and 2 missed free throws. Got to make them count. Both sides have had their opportunities from the stripe. Got to make these count, especially in crunch time.
Sabri Quadam checks in for Richwoods, and Etherly checks out. 2 huge free throws missed by Thompson. He goes 0 for 3 at the line. That's almost unbelievable. That's a huge opportunity missed by Bloomington, and Quantum on the other end. What a play in transition, and how about that pass? The perfect spot and the perfect time. And Bloomington traveled with it. That was Beasley, as we'll go back to Richwoods. So the biggest momentum shift we've seen all game long. And it's all going Richwoods' way.
Here come the Knights. You knew they wouldn't be too quiet for long. It's been a tough effort by both sides, but the Knights eventually getting the momentum from the home crowd, trying to put it away.
Student section is on their feet. They've been liking what they've been seeing. Maybe on that possession, though. They turn it over, and Bloomington will get a chance, but Bloomington has got to come through and make some plays. They've made a couple of them, but a lot of times it's been, slow and methodical, driving in, trying to get to the free throw line. Stevens kicks it over now to Worthman, now back to Thompson.
I think if they want to keep this close in this game, they got to score on this possession.
Remember, Newsom is on the bench now with 3 fouls. It looks like we got a timeout here. That was taken there by Bloomington. We'll take a timeout with them. Thank our sponsor, Jody Brown, State Farm here in Peoria, for her support of tonight's broadcast and Central Illinois athletics as a whole. For all your insurance needs, give Jody a call at 309-693-1103 or at jodybrown.agency.com. Jonathan Michael in here in the booth alongside Gavin Russell. Gavin, it's been a phenomenal ball game up to this point. Really just back and forth action here in early Big 12 conference play, but Bloomington searching for some answers. You can win a game over the course of a couple minutes, but you can lose it much quicker, and Bloomington doesn't want to do that. As you said, Gavin, 7 points seems like a big deficit, but they still have a lot of time, a little over 6 minutes to play in this one.
There is, but you got to recap, kind of get the momentum of your own. You're not going to be able to, just go along the same pace. You got to be able to kind of spark that own magic. So we'll see if Bloomington has something out of this timeout. Richwoods' defense has been hounding. 7-point lead feels huge. Again, a lot of time left, but got to kind of turn the tide sooner than later. Otherwise, it could be too late.
Newsom back in the game for Bloomington. Quick update on a final score from the Mid-Illini Conference that we found out. Metamora taking down Morton in a close one, 56-50. The Redbirds are your victors tonight. And Morton Potter's team, a lot of teams may overlook them, but they're right there in the thick of things in the Mid-Illini. And certainly, obviously, they don't want a moral victory, but you got to have one of those tonight. Pekin also leads Washington currently 48-42. And Washington team is trying to find answers after a brutal defeat to Metamora earlier in the year. Free throw from Bloomington, it was no good, so they've missed 4 clutch free throws here in the fourth quarter. Those are the ones you just got to make.
Got to clutch up.
Indeed, as Beasley gets in and Newsom, and he caught it, went behind the half-court line, so a backcourt violation, and Spencer Johnson says, come on, you got to know better, as he conversates with his junior small forward. Now Richwoods can make it a double-digit lead. Here's Newsom working it on, gets it to Tavy Smith, now double teamed, back to Newsom. Richwoods slows it down, Quantum a pick, rolls down in the paint. Knight's able to recover. Here's Jackson in the corner, almost lost it. And Richwoods very content to milk some time off the clock here, and traveling with it was Tavy Smith. So Bloomington kind of lucks out there because Richwoods seemed in the mood to run potentially maybe even more than another minute or so off the clock.
Yeah, they're really trying to milk it, and they're obviously not content with just going fast at it. They definitely want to just try to slow it down, but Bloomington now get another opportunity. They got to make something happen.
Double team comes by Richwoods, and they almost come away with the steal there. How about Sabri Quantum? Gavin, you said it. He was a glue guy, and he has proved that today. I mean, he is setting brick walls of screens. He's right in there getting offensive boards, playing strong defense as well. You can certainly tell that he is a football guy that can certainly benefit a basketball team.
He did it last year also.
Newsom draws the foul, That one there on Quantum. He tried to get a charge there. And Newsom will head to the line as the 10th team foul for Richwoods. So if you're Bloomington, you got to wonder if they're maybe going to stay away from shooting 3-ball or maybe field goals in general, but they miss another free throw.
That's 4 to my count just in the quarter, not to mention several throughout the rest of this game. So 5 rather, and now 6.
Make that 6. Bloomington has missed 6 free throws, and they trail by 7 on the road to a conference rival. And Newsom just picked up his 4th foul, it looks like. Or no, rather, that was offensive. And that one will go on Quantum, his 2nd.
Yeah, tough break right there. You mentioned he's been setting some good screens, but set a little bit too good of a screen right there as it's illegal. And it'll go back to Bloomington. Got to make something happen. Got to score.
You got to give credit to the Purple Raiders, though, Gavin, because despite them missing 6 free throws, they still are within 7. So obviously not the deficit you want, but still a manageable deficit. But they got to get something going. Maybe try and get some layups. Maybe get down low in the paint, shot fake, and maybe you want to stay away from contact. Maybe you don't want to shoot free throws. Maybe you just want to try and get some easy layups. I haven't seen many 3-point shots, though, from Bloomington. Although if they would go to that, we'd expect that it'd probably be either Shuey or Newsom to shoot the ball, or Beasley, as he does here, and he knocks it down right on cue. That's a 2. Very deep one, but much needed nonetheless.
Well, that's a huge basket right there. Pulls them within 5. Half the quarter left to go. Now a stop is big, but Richwoods looks like they're going to try and take some time off.
What can Bloomington do to get in the Richwoods passing lanes? No play defense, but Newsom counters it with a nice J from the free throw line, and the Richwoods lead back up to 7. Beasley, 3, no good. Something about Beasley, Gavin, I've seen from him over the years is he'll try and put the team on his back. He can certainly knock down those tough shots, those clutch shots. So something to keep an eye on is who will step up for Bloomington. They get a steal here. Here's Worthman. Gives it to Newsom, working one-on-one. And Tavy Smith is very unhappy with the call. He thought that he drew the charge.
I think that's a completely fine call. He could have called nothing either because Smith was falling backwards about a step or 2 before Newsom even got there. So you can't already be moving backwards. You got to maintain your position and maintain your ground. Just kind of expecting the contact, maybe decided to start falling back a little bit too early. But Bloomington finally making it count after 0 for 6 in the quarter from the stripe. Finally breaks the seal on the free throw line. Got to make them both.
And he does. Although what could have been for Bloomington, they could have had the lead if they would have made all of their free throws. Maybe wishful thinking to maybe go 100% the line, but even just 2 more of them makes it a 1-possession game.
Got to just move past that, though. They can't think about it. Put the pass behind you and try to finish out this last 3.5 strong.
You've got to control the controllables, as they say. That one bounces up and no good. Newsom fought for the board, but taken away by Jackson. Who's got it? Richwoods does. It's Newsom to Quantum, and he gets fouled. Sabri Quantum will head to the line. You just knew that he would be in there fighting for that board as it was volleyballed around. He comes flying down the lane, and really no choice for Bloomington other than to foul him.
Looked like a bowling ball heading for a strike. Can't strike there on the first free throw, but again, tough contact. He's a tough player. I believe he's a linebacker on the football team, and again, he's very tough, very physical, something that Richwoods doesn't have a lot of, so adds a nice element to the night's program.
Big free throw. There is no good, and we'll get another foul.
Lane violation.
Or a lane
That's
violation.
The second one on Bloomington in this game, so just the little things, John. Just got to clean the little things up.
Bloomington hoping for another quad miss, but can Richwoods take advantage of the mistake? Free throw is good, and that's the point that could end up being big. 3 minutes left to play here in the dungeon. Richwoods leads by 6. This one was tied at 40 heading in to the quarter. And another foul on Bloomington. It looks like that one was on Shuey. That is his 4th.
That's a tough break. Very tough break, and kind of just pushed off a little bit. Maybe, again, a little bit of contact there. Just enough for the official to call, and a tough break for Bloomington.
The Purple Raiders trail by 6, hoping for a big Big 12 conference win early in the season. Now here's Burnside in the post, does some good work on Worthman and gets it to go. Greg Burnside up to 11 points on the game. He's been big.
No longer quiet in this game for Richwoods.
Beasley turnaround jumper is no good, and now here comes Newsom. I want to thank you guys for sticking with us. We had some technical difficulties here at Richwoods High School. Richwoods still holds the lead 54-47. And I apologize for those difficulties. Not sure what went on with our Wi-Fi, but regardless, we are back. And the Knights hold a 7-point lead with 1:27 left to go. Nico Newsom picked up he still has 3 fouls, but he heads to the bench. First free throw from Tavy Smith is no good, so still keeps the door open for Richwoods a little bit. Bloomington has to make something happen quickly, though.
Another missed free throw, so the door stays open, but you got to make something happen fast, as you mentioned. Any bucket.
Shuey kicks it back out to Stevens. He drives the lane. There's a whole host of Knights there, and they take it away, but only temporarily. Stevens, Beasley, corner 3, they need it, and they can't get it. A great offensive, or rather defensive board from Tavy Smith. He skied up to get that rebound, and Richwoods and Smith will be shooting free throws on the other end. That look by Beasley in the corner is probably just what you wanted.
That's exactly what you needed right there, John. You had to have that shot go in if you're Bloomington, but unfortunately just bounced off, and a tough break can pretty much start to ice it here for Richwoods with the free throws.
You gotta make your free throws. Bloomington learned that lesson earlier on. 6 missed free throws here in the 4th quarter, and now Richwoods misses. So this one gets a little bit more interesting. Tavy Smith at the line. He's got 4 fouls and 7 points for Richwoods tonight. Second one is no good either. So now here comes Bloomington. They have another chance, but they got to get a bucket. Shuey works on Burnside. The turnaround Jay is no good, and nobody is home for the rebound. And it's brought in by Markel Newsom.
Beasley can't foul. He's got 4 of them already.
Oh, that's a big steal there by Addison Worthman. Bloomington gets another chance. Will they convert this time around? That foul will go on Sabri Quantum of Richwoods. So Jaylani Stevens will head to the line. Bloomington has gotten at least 3 extra chances in the last about 30 seconds, Gavin, to get this one closer to within 7. And Stevens' first free throw is good.
They have some late magic in them. It's going to still be a pretty close final score, but again, if Richwoods can just start to make some of their free throws, could be enough.
A big rebound there by Burnside. Will Bloomington try and go for the steal? Looks like they are. Possibly a backcourt violation, but they get it across. With Burnside, he's trapped and eventually fouled. And he'll head to the line. Got to think that you like to have Greg Burnside at the line, though. He's used to pressure situations.
He is. Pressure in the pocket as a quarterback, pressure at the free throw line as a basketball player. And he's been really good tonight. Greg Burnside deserves a lot of credit. I definitely would say he's been in our player of the game conversation. We'll chop that up later, but Burnside, clutch free throws right there and pure looking stroke. I don't think he's missed one tonight.
I don't recall him missing one. Go back and rewatch the broadcast and see, but he's been good. And he knocks out a second one, so the lead is now 8. Bloomington needs to go quick, and it's Beasley. He kicks it out, almost taken away. Stevens, 3, off balance and no good. And Richwoods gets the offensive rebound. Gives an defensive rebound, but that could seal it.
I think it's on its way to, and especially if they make both from here, it'll give them a double-digit lead. Again, it came down to the last quarter. It's 40-40 as we started out the fourth quarter, and again, just kind of came down to who's going to finish better, who's going to win out, and it was Richwoods all the way. Bloomington, though, again, just like they've been all season, throw the record out the window. They're going to hang with you. Just they got to figure out how to close some of these games out.
Second one up and good for Newsome. And the lead is now 10, the largest of the entire night for Richwoods. And they, as Shuey, it's a late garbage time basket there for Bloomington. The clock has wound down to 0. And this one has gone final. The Richwoods Knights fend off the Bloomington Purple Raiders in battle here at the Dungeon. Back and forth seesaw game all night. Came down to the fourth quarter, and ultimately Richwoods made more plays, were able to get to the cup more often. They made more of their free throws, and they come away with a 58-50 victory.
Huge victory for the Knights. They go to 8-1 on the season. They're showing they're a tough team. They're a team that, again, even like Bloomington, that they didn't take them lightly. Richwoods made some of their own mistakes, but it's early in the year. They're going to learn from this one, but they're going to be happy with the victory. Bloomington, on the other hand, they're going to learn from it. They're going to be able to take some things away from it that are good. Both teams I'd expect to have pretty successful seasons. Richwoods, though, looking like one of the favorites in the Big 12 up to this point. They certainly are going to have a great season along the way, and they've got some tough matchups coming up, so I wouldn't be too shocked to see Richwoods back on Clutch Sports Media pretty soon.
Richwoods Knights off to an 8-1 start for the year, 3-1 in Big 12 play, and they have now won their third in a row. Their only lost game by 3 points too, so they're not far from being undefeated.
No, they are not.
What a great year that they're having. Bloomington drops to 2-5 overall, another close loss for them. They've been hanging right there with them, but eventually they'll be able to pull some of those close games out, but couldn't really ask for much of a better ball game here at Richwoods Community High School. Our Jody Brown State Farm player of the game, Gavin, I gotta say Greg Burnside for Richwoods.
I definitely agree. Greg Burnside stepped up in a big way in this game, scored in double figures. Definitely was one of the leading players for this Richwoods team. Stayed composed, didn't make too many mistakes. The quarterback and now basketball player Greg Burnside come through as our Jody Brown State Farm player of the game.
Greg Burnside finishes with a team-leading 15 points for Richwoods. Markel Newsome adds 14, and the Richwoods Knights are victorious in their first home game of the 2022-2023 season. That about wraps it up from Richwoods for our outstanding crew doing great work tonight. Francisco Alonso, our camera operator, and Josh Messenger, our producer. And for my counterpart, Gavin Russell, I'm Jonathan Michaels saying so long from Richwoods. The Knights beat the Purple Raiders 58-50 in Big 12 conference play. That about wraps it up. Have a good weekend and a safe, fun weekend at that. We'll catch you next time here on Clutch Sports Media. So long, folks.